I am Susan Stevens Chambers. I'm a member of this congregation, and I'm a member of the UUFM Worship Committee. The Worship Committee is planning our services since Reverend Rita has left us, and if you have any suggestions or want to volunteer your time towards worship, please see myself or one of the other Worship Committee members. Sunday morning is always a team effort. Thanks to our worship associate, Tony Filipovich, as well as our greeter, Deb Fitzloff. And we're grateful to the tech squad, Linda Gansky and Kat, and with Dennis Cramblett helping with hearing assistance. Today there is no formal children's programming, but there is family support, and that'll be led by Deb Fitzloff. So we won't sing the children out today either, because they'll go with Deb when they want to. Hospitality during our coffee hour after the service is being provided by Penny Harrikoff. And if you're new here today, we're grateful that you are expanding the we, who is us. And we're grateful to have any contact information you would like to provide. You can do that online or in the forms that are right there in the pews, or the greeters can help you find the forms in the entryway. Please stay for coffee afterwards. It's a great way to get to know us. If you're attending by Zoom today, stay after the service to visit together. And please remember to look at our weekly update to learn about new beginnings, new initiatives, new groups forming for companionship and social action.
So let us move more deeply into a time of worship, shaping worth and meaning from the ordinary as a way to honor the gift of life we all share. Together, let us kindle a flame symbolizing our co-creation of sacred space at home and in this place, made sacred by years of love. As you do, please write in the chat if you're at home that a chalice is lit on your street. And please say the words with me. The words are in the cards in your pews. We are a welcoming people of diverse beliefs who commit to nourish the spirit, broaden the mind, nurture the earth, and build community. May this flame we kindle remind us to strive today and every day to love beyond belief.
So we are now in the midst of big change as Rita leaves us and moves to Buffalo, New York. We planned a big send-off, a fond farewell with gifts, a few tears and laughter, and of course, food. And we all know it didn't go as we'd planned it. We're left in a state of uncertainty, not sure we will ever get a final goodbye with Rita. At least not as we'd mapped it out. And isn't that the way with so many events that we plan? You know, the food might not turn out as you expected, or sometimes weather gets in the way, or travel doesn't happen in the way you hoped. Sometimes those we love have commitments somewhere else, and sometimes we downsize, but it makes it hard to throw open the doors of welcome and invite those who had come to share the day with you in the past. Sometimes there are serious medical issues or accidents that skew all our plans. I overheard one person talking about how stressful it is to deal with things not working out as planned, and that they don't do well with the tensions that bubble up with that. All of these things seem poised to shatter our dreams of a happy event if we let it overtake our emotions and our mind. Eckhart Tolle has told a parable about a beggar sitting by the side of the road for over 30 years. One day, a stranger walks by. "Spare some change," mumbles the beggar, mechanically holding out his old baseball cap. "I have nothing to give you," said the stranger. Then he asks, "What's that you're sitting on?" "Nothing," replied the beggar, "just an old box. I've been sitting on it for as long as I can remember." "Ever look inside?" asked the stranger. "No," said the beggar. "What's the point? There's nothing in there." "Have a look inside," insists the stranger. The beggar manages to pry open the lid. With astonishment, disbelief, and elation, he saw that the box was filled with gold. Tolle tells us that he is that stranger who has nothing to give you and who is telling you to look inside. Not inside the box, as in the parable, but somewhere even closer. Inside yourself. Those who have not found their true wealth, which is the radiant joy of being and the deep, unshakable peace that comes with it, are beggars, even if they have great material wealth. Tolle notes that they look outside for scraps of pleasure or fulfillment, for validation, security, or love, while they have a treasure within that not only includes all those things, but is infinitely greater than anything the world can offer. My theme this morning is change. Change surrounds us. Change is the most consistent event that happens to us in life. We cannot escape change. It happens daily with the temperature, our air quality, with a chance meeting of friends or strangers. We will experience different health each day, and our children and we get older each day. Trying to make up a story to keep things the same is impossible. What happens sometimes is we let our own thoughts dominate. We stress over our own story, and the story gets in the way of our perceptions. We don't even recognize the box we're sitting on. The mind becomes our master, and we are its slave. In her poem, Mary Oliver expresses profound grief. "That time I thought I could not go any closer to grief without dying." But by becoming aware of her thoughts, she brought a new dimension of consciousness to her suffering. "I went closer, and I did not die." Her thought then lost its power over her and quickly subsided. At that point, she is able to really be aware of what is all around her. Roses in the wind, the sea geese on the steep waves, a love to which there is no reply. When we are faced with something different from what we expected, we could react by being disappointed or stressed. But if we take a deep breath and acknowledge the change, we can subdue our muddy mind, our thoughts that are not reality. We must recognize that we all carry our stories around with us, like a box in the corner of our room. Everyone has a story, and every story is different. Often, our identity is our story. We try to pick and choose to match the story. This is when we sit blindly on the box, complaining that our goodbye festival or a holiday hasn't turned out the way we planned it. We were waiting for that perfect ending. And underneath us, there is that gold that we are blind to. The Fleetwood Mac soloist sings of the change we experience. Her lyrics ask if she can sail through the changing ocean tides. Can she handle the seasons of her life? She acknowledges that she is afraid of changes because she built her life around a story that she now sees is just a story. Time makes you bolder, she tells us. Children get older, and she's getting older too. Her awareness is that these changes can sometimes feel like a landslide. How does one avoid the landslide? They do it by learning to be aware, to acknowledge that the stories are just that, simply a story, and recognizing that change is reality, not a story. With that awareness, you can accept change, which is a way of saying you are changing your own emotional reaction to change from stress or pain instead of just living the change. Leo Tolstoy stated, "Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself." And Rumi tells us, "Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself." We should become as accepting of change as ours in and out natural breath, since change is the constant in our lives. As Mary Oliver's poem informs us, it's not the weight you carry, but how you carry it. Books, bricks, grief, it's all in the way you embrace it, balance it, carry it when you cannot and would not put it down. To put it another way, it's accepting what is actually present when it is present. If there is no joy, ease, or lightness in what you're doing, give your fullest attention to whatever the moment presents, Tolle tells us. This implies that you also completely accept what is, because you cannot give your full attention to something and at the same time resist it. As soon as you honor the present moment, all unhappiness and struggle dissolves, and your life begins to flow with joy and ease. William Stafford speaks of it in his poem, The Gift. He acknowledges that sometimes it is hard. Sometimes the hurt slackens and you hardly feel it anymore. You have a breath without pain. It is called happiness. He asks us to balance the taking and passing along, the composting of where you've been and how people and weather treat you. Time offers this gift in millions of ways, turning the world, moving the air, calling every morning, "Here, take it, it's yours." If you can arise each morning and simply look at what the day offers you, you will be aware of what a gift that moment is. Time becomes a friend rather than a tool of suffering. That ease and happiness allows you to celebrate, just like the dog and the butterfly. Heart sings, she leaps up in the air and rolls back down to the warm, soft ground, laughing. The dog knows how to stay present in the moment. As Tolle instructs, don't seek permanency where it cannot be found in the world of form, of gain and loss, birth and death. That is when people construct stories that can't be true and blind you to the box that's been at your side all along. Tolle reminds us that if you can't demand that situations, conditions, places, or people should make you happy, and then suffer when they don't live up to your expectations. Now, this doesn't mean that you ignore the hard realities. There will be bad weather. There will be shootings, dark times that you need to be aware of. I used the writing my son Colin Chambers wrote about in his Facebook blog about the chemically dependent couple. He doesn't create a sugar-coated story. He acknowledges what is. He's fully present to observing them. He does so with compassion. He doesn't pass judgment. He doesn't resolve their issues. When I read this, I think right away of our UU first principle, our affirmation to promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. He acknowledges their love. He acknowledges their being together. I think his observations adhere to that principle. There will be difficulties, troubles, sorrow often in our lives. People leave us unexpectedly, without goodbyes. We respond to family emergencies that offer no farewells. Friends we cherish get sick and die. Everything is honored, Tolley states. Tomorrow's bills are not the problem. The dissolution of the physical body is not a problem. Loss of now is the problem, or rather, the core delusion that turns a mere situation, event, or emotion into a personal problem and into suffering. Tolley would have us not stress about the problems, but instead stay compassionately in the present moment. There is another Mary Oliver poem called In the Storm. It goes like this. Some black ducks were shrugged up on the shore. It was snowing hard from the east, and the sea was in disorder. Then some sanderlings, 5 inches long with beaks like wire, flew in, snowflakes on their backs, and settled in a row behind the ducks whose backs were also covered with snow, so close they were all but touching. They were all but under the roof of the ducks' tails, so that the wind pretty much blew over them. They stayed that way, motionless, for maybe an hour. Then the sanderlings, each a handful of feathers, shifted and were blown away out over the water, which was still raging. But somehow they came back. And again the ducks, like a feathered hedge, let them crouch there and live. If someone you didn't know told you this, as I am telling you this, would you believe it? Belief isn't always easy, but this much I have learned, if not enough else, to live with my eyes open. I know what everyone wants is a miracle. This wasn't a miracle. Unless, of course, kindness, as now and again some rare person has suggested, is a miracle. As it surely is. For all problems that are hard, kindness is an answer. You take in the change, living with your eyes open. Change gives you lessons. It's up to you if you will suffer or experience gratitude. Pay attention to what surrounds you: an old box, the weather, the couple on the street. Live in the moment. Accept what is without suffering. Be kind. Remember the inherent worth and dignity of each person you encounter. The best indicator of your level of consciousness is how you deal with life's challenges as they come, Tolle tells us. Through those challenges, an already unconscious person tends to become more deeply unconscious, and a conscious person becomes more intensely conscious. Tolle instructs that when you learn to be a witness to your thoughts and emotions, which is an essential part of being present, you may be surprised at what awareness brings you. You may first become aware of the background static of ordinary unconsciousness. Your awareness shines a light on it and makes it easier to deal with. Drop the negativity as if it were a piece of hot coal. Recognize that you don't want to suffer the pain or carry the burden anymore, and let it go. Hermann Hesse stated, "Some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it is the letting go." Wherever you are, be there totally. Complaints are always non-acceptance of what is. If you find your here and now intolerable and it makes you unhappy, you have 3 options, Tolle tells us. 1, remove yourself from the situation. 2, change it. Or 3, accept it totally. If you want to take responsibility for your life, you must choose one of these 3 options, and you must choose now. Any action, he states, is often better than no action, especially if you have been stuck in an unhappy situation for a long time. Don't let the fear rise up into your mind. If there is truly nothing you can do to change your here and now, and you can't remove yourself from the situation, then accept it. Drop all inner resistance. Let it go. Listening to the loud relative you don't like at the holiday table doesn't mean you have to agree with what they say, but drop the inner resistance. Let go of your anger. Question compassionately what they're trying to convey. Accept that their personality is what it is. Surrender is not weakness. Tolle, Stafford, Mary Oliver are all saying in their own way that a surrendered person has spiritual power. You will be free internally of the situation and may find when you let go that the situation changes without any effort on your own part. Stress is caused by being here but wanting to be there, or being in the present but wanting to be in the future. Like Mary Oliver, live with your eyes open. Keep present by getting active. Move, walk, run, work, do any action totally. Enjoy the moment in front of you like the dog and the butterfly. Tolle reminds you, when you do, watch your mind. It may say, you should be working. You are wasting time. Observe the mind. Smile at it. Die to the past as well. You don't need it. The past does not exist. It's just another story. Stay present instead to what is actually happening. Feel the power of this moment and breathe in your fullness of being. Take the awareness of the morning, as William Stafford showed us. It's a gift. Sing into the light. Celebrate now, and let the past and future alone. Let them go. Accept change as it comes your way. When we stop fighting change and embrace it, we become friends with it. Keep our UU principles in your heart as you breathe in and out. Observe how your mind tries to create a story and smile at the story without becoming a part of the story. Look at what is around you. Accept what is, whether it is cold snow, drunk street people, the unexpected departure of a spiritual leader, or the brilliant light that the morning is bringing us. Be aware that you can still feel joy and gratitude for the present moment, which has no past and no future. Accept all change unconditionally. And remember that you are loved. You are welcomed in this, our community of kindness and compassion. May it be so, and blessed be to all of you. Of worship this morning, let us make a promise that we will remain committed to sustained and robust relationship with each other, to the vision of our faith community, to the values of Unitarian Universalism, and to the interdependent web holding us all. Hope you will join us for coffee afterwards, too. As Tony extinguishes the sanctuary chalice, please extinguish your chalice at home and say the words with me which are on your pew cards. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.